Broncos country, what is going on? It is your boy here, Mark Sports. Hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. And one thing I wanted to talk about today, man, there's been a lot of we made a Bo Nix video yesterday, talked about some positives. And I never really like to look into rookie minicamp and make these huge claims, but all positives coming out of that. But one thing that I've been thinking about prior to rookie minicamp, and then now I think is really kind of getting flown under the radar, is the new RB1 for the Denver Broncos this year. And this is my bold prediction, but it's something that I think is pretty obvious when you go into the tea leaves. And now there's going to be a lot of Bronco fans that might not necessarily love what I have to say because they love themselves some Javonte Williams, which I do as well. I think the injury was just extremely unfortunate, but it kind of is what it is. But I think Audric Estime is has potential to be probably the biggest steal of the 2024 NFL draft. And I think that this can be not just an RB1, but somebody that is an absolute behemoth and a huge contributor for this football team. So when you think about an RB1, and then you think about RB1 when it comes to Sean Payton, there's a lot of different factors that go into it, right? And so that's what we're going to dive into today is Audric Estime, why I think he's going to be RB1, why I think he has potential to be a special back and maybe even the best NFL back that was drafted in this past year's draft. Before we do that, guys, if you'd like some more Broncos content, some more Nuggets, and some Avalanche content as well, please hit that subscribe button, like and comment your thoughts. I'd love to interact with the fans. I'd love to get any kind of feedback, whether it be about opinion that I said, whether it be about my channel, my style, whatever it might be. It's always appreciated, and I always very much look forward to hearing what you guys have to say. So let's get right into it. So when you look at it first, all right, so the Broncos drafted Audric Estime in the fifth round, right? He was the 12th pick of the fifth round. And in many cases, he was actually predicted to go as high as the seventh round. He was absolutely a beast when it came to what he did as a production running back at Notre Dame. According to the NFL Combine Next Gen Stats breakdown, he was the number one running back when it got ranked to overall production, right? So you're talking about just what he's producing from touchdowns to running the ball and all that good stuff. But here's something that I touched on in a past episode, and I want to talk about a little bit here. Is he got knocked on the combine for running a 4.71, which he ended up improving to 4.59 at his combine. And I really don't understand why NFL teams harp on this so much. I really will never understand it because if you really think about it, he's a he's a 200 and almost 30-pound running back, 5'9", 5'10", and the guy is an absolute like machine person. Like, dude, take a look at this guy. I mean, he is unbelievably well built. You're talking about somebody like Javonte Williams being built, but this guy is built like a tank. And there's a lot of videos of him. I'm not going to sit here and make this a physique channel, but the guy has got all the, the, the physical looks, and he's not even 21 years old yet. So he's got a lot of tread on those tires. But in addition to that, when you look at this man and when you look at what he has to do at the combine, okay, these are his numbers. All right, let's take a look at this. We'll do a little side by side comparison. You're at a 4.71. This is the impressive part. A 1.58 10-yard split. That is incredible when it comes to his initial explosiveness. All right. And just to give you guys some comparison, Troy Franklin on our team, who ran a 4.41 and is absolutely known as a burner, is a 1.61. So Audric Estime's first 10 yards are faster than Troy Franklin's first 10 yards. Now, should we be concerned about Troy Franklin? I wouldn't say no. I mean, he's more of a long speed kind of guy, but that just shows the kind of unbelievable explosiveness that a running back of this size, 5'11", 221, and I'll tell you, he looks way bigger than 221. Okay. Big hands, long arms, good stuff, whatever. Now, 38. So vertical jump and broad jump are two parts of the combine or two drills that really measure explosiveness, right? So not only does the 158, that marks elite when it comes to explosiveness, a 38-inch vertical versus 39-inch vertical. Guys, there's a almost 50-pound difference between Troy Franklin and Audric Estime. And yet, Audric Estime only had 1-inch vertical less, 10-foot 5-inch broad jump, which is more than what Troy Franklin had. And you can compare these numbers with a lot of the elite wide receiver prospects and elite, running backs and, corners and all that. He is right up there with everybody. And I would imagine that this number only got better at that 4.59 that he ran at his pro day. I couldn't really look into it very much and see anything about it, but it was pretty damn impressive. You talk about 4.54 is actually what he ended up running at his pro day. And another thing that they had talked about is that he's a really good pass protector already. That's the number one thing that always keeps rookies from being three down backs in the NFL is their inability to pass in pass pro, right? And it's not just a matter of want to. You look at somebody that has Audric Estime size and frame, pass protection is not going to be a problem from a physical standpoint, but it's being able to read where the blitz is coming from and obviously execute the play. And if he can show strides that he could be good at that, or even borderline like very, very good above average, this is your day one starter. What some of the positives they talked about here on Bleacher Report, they talk about great power and balance. They talk about very good speed at the second and third level, which I think it's actually opposite. I think he's got shoot through the speed is elite. Then he kind of tapers off a little bit, and his 40 time showed that, but no big deal because if you already have a step or two on guys, you're going to be able to rip it off and take it to the house. They say he's got very good vision and footwork. He's good as a pass protector. He's a comfortable pass catcher, especially in the underneath area. And this is something I think he had 17 catches in college. But if I read something, and I do got to confirm this, I think he caught every single ball that was thrown to him, every single one. And there was one that was a ridiculous one-handed catch that he had across the middle. I ended up going for like 4 yards, but it was ridiculous. So I think that there's a lot of untapped potential in terms of him as a pass catcher, and that is going to be huge. That's something that I think is going to be that's going to be a monster. They had him projected. I think if you go down here, they had him projected. He only had 14 career starts, which I think is a positive for running backs. But they had him projected in the second round. They said they ranked him overall as RB1. Overall rank is 43rd, and his potential impact player as a second round pick. And they compared him as a turbo Gus Edwards, which I love because I think Gus Edwards is a stud. But I think Gus Edwards is one of those guys that he's only a two down back because he can't really catch the ball very well. So if this guy can do that, you're talking about a next level type of a runner. Now, what does that mean for somebody like Javonte Williams? Well, it can mean a lot of things. Obviously, they can still be a role for him, right? This is hypothetically if Audric Estime ends up being RB1. There's another thing that it's always good to have a vet like him, somebody in the locker room that's respected, to be able to come in spot duty, come in, in certain situations, maybe it's goal line or whatever it might be, that's going to allow for Javonte to be able to still be a player on this team. Also, it's going to be great competition because now Javonte coming off year two post the injury, if he can go towards his old self, you're going to have two running backs that are going to look very similar, that are going to run very similar, but that have an opportunity to make defenses not want to touch these guys. And so I think we're in a league now where teams and fans get really excited about the explosive, take it to the house, catch the ball out of the backfield type of player. And maybe Estime and Javonte Williams don't really they don't seem like that on paper, but I can assure you that these are two guys that could be extremely productive backs. And then you can always mix in Julian McLaughlin and potentially Blake Watson. And I think we've got a really impressive group. I'm just extremely curious to see how it ends up shaking out, right? One concern that I read about Estime was that he had a little bit of a fumbling issue in college, which typically really can translate into a fumbling issue in the NFL because you see a lot of running backs that never fumbled in college that end up fumbling in the NFL. But if there's one thing that is coachable and that running backs can make a huge change with, unless your name is, um, there's always been a few guys that did it. But obviously, like Melvin Gordon was somebody that just he didn't care. He's like, I'm fumbling, I don't care. He was just a good goal line back. But for the most part, it's something that I think can really it can be coached out of. So as long as fumbles is not something that really hampers him as a rookie, guys, look out for him to be an unbelievably highly productive back, high yards per carry, and frankly a stud when it comes to the goal line running and punching the ball into the end zone because that is something that we struggle with even Javonte Williams last year. So let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about Audric Estime? Do you think he is the most underrated, not only draft pick of the Broncos, but potential of the entire NFL. I'd love to know you guys' thoughts in the comments. I appreciate all you guys tuning in, and there'll be more draft, obviously some more content coming through. We're gonna kind of break down player by player, undrafted free agents, and our draft picks as we go and as there's more information. Um, and rough night for the Avs. I didn't want to go there. It was tough. It was tough. We'll see. But go Nuggets tonight. Hopefully they'll get a nice big dub and make my prediction of going back home to Denver even 2-2 um, true. So appreciate you guys riding with me. Enjoy your Sunday. Mile high salute to you guys all. And if you haven't already, show David Talks Broncos some love. That guy's putting out some great content. He also has a great Buffs channel where he talks about the CU Buffs at David Talks Buffs. So show that man some love and show all these other, local, smaller channels that are really trying to bring you guys some good content because even though, they might be talking about some things that some of the big wigs say, they're bringing in a fresh opinion with no direction, no bias, no agenda. They're just bringing a fresh perspective. So much love to all those guys. Everyone have a wonderful rest of your evening. And as usual, peace out.